recording this meeting for future reference. So last meeting, we defined risks in its general connotation. So when we speak of risks, that means uncertainty. So if there is a level of uncertainty as to what will happen in the future, then we could say that that specific matter is risky. Now, in terms of finance, we have different types of risks. First, we have credit risk. Credit risk is the risk of default in a debt that may arise from a borrower failing to make required payments. So if someone has borrowed money from you, and then there is a chance that that person will default. When we say default, dili siya mo bayad. Okay? So if dili siya mo bayad, then there is a credit risk on that. Then we also have foreign exchange risk. Foreign exchange risk is the risk that a foreign currency transaction will be negatively exposed to fluctuations in exchange rates. Now, I'm sure you all know that every day there will be some slight changes in exchange rates, like for example, from Philippine peso to US dollars and vice versa. So, for example, if you entered into a foreign currency transaction, let's just say you purchased something from the US and then you have to pay in US dollars. Say, for example, you need to pay 100 US dollars. At the time of the transaction, let's assume that $1 is equivalent to, say, 47 pesos. But when you actually paid that foreign currency transaction, the peso equivalent of $1 rose to 50. So there is that foreign exchange risk. Supposedly imong bayran 47 ra per dollar, but then later on, by the time when you actually paid it, nahimo siyang 50 pesos per US dollar. So naakay lugi. Okay, so that is what we call foreign exchange risk. And then we have political risk. This is the risk faced by investors, corporations, and governments that political decisions, events, or conditions will significantly affect the profitability of a business actor or the expected value of a given economic action, such as changes in tax laws, environmental regulations, or expropriation of assets. So basically, when we speak of political risk, so politika kaayo. So this is more of the risk brought about by future government actions. Like here in our examples here, changes in tax laws. So there might be a chance that the government will pass higher taxes for a specific type of industry. So if you invest in that industry and later on the taxes imposed on such industry will be increased, then mas mugamay ang imong income kay mas taas man nga taxes ang imong ihatag. So that one is political risk. And by the way, can you all make sure to mute your microphones? Please check if you are muted. Okay. I think Alfred is not muted. I'm not sure if I can mute you. Let me try. Okay. Right. So let's continue. And then we have another example, environmental regulations. So if the government in the future will impose stricter environmental regulations, for example, if you are into manufacturing and then let's say the government will enact a law that would require you to install some machineries to filter out the smoke that comes out from your factory. So that would include, or that would entail additional expense from the company. So additional expense necessarily leads to lesser net income. Yeah, okay, Steven. Noted. Lesser income. So that would negatively affect your cash flows. So that one is also under political risk. And when we say expropriation of assets, expropriation is an act of the state in getting private properties to be used for public use. So, for example, if your building is near the uh, side of the road, and then the government decides to expropriate or get that land for a road widening project, so you need to demolish the building and all. So that one would entail losses on your part, right? So that also forms part of the political risk. And then we have interest rate risk. This is the risk that the value of a bond or other fixed income investment will suffer as the result of a change in interest rates. So I'm not sure if you can imagine this, but for bonds, they have market interest rates. These market interest rates will be used to compute the present value of the bonds. So if the market interest rate will change, so does the present value of the bonds. So it's either a gain on your part or a loss on your part. But still, the fact remains that there is such uncertainty that the market interest rate will change. So since there is uncertainty, we could say that there is risk, and we call that risk interest rate risk. Then we have this so-called market risk. This is the risk of fluctuating returns caused by the macroeconomic factors that affect all risky assets. So for market risk, this is a general term. This is a catch-all term that covers all risks that would affect all industries in a specific market. So dili ra specific company ang affected, but tanan companies affected. Kana nga risk is what we call a market risk. So for example, war. If there is war, um, let's say if there's war in the country, so of course we will be negatively affected. Our businesses will be adversely affected. So dili ra specific company ang affected, but rather tanan. So the risk of having war is considered a market risk. So for investors, we have specific risk attitudes. So we have risk averse investors, risk neutral, and risk seeking. So for risk averse investors, they would say like this: risky securities must have higher expected returns. Murag sigurista ba? Kung risky kaayo na siya nga investment, mo require ka og higher nga returns to compensate for that higher risk. So for risk averse investors, the rule is the higher the risk, the higher the return. When you say return, ang imong income nga pangayoon from that investment. Then risk neutral investors will say this: I will use the expected value approach because I am rational toward risk. So dili kay siya affected sa risk involved in a specific investment. So lang. Then risk-seeking investors, they keep an optimistic attitude toward risk. So dili sila mahadlok og risk. Ganahan sila og risky nga investments. Now, in our study of investments and finance in general, we will assume that investors are generally risk averse. No, natural man sa ato ang risk averse ta di ta ganahan og risky kaayo. Pareha gud anang na kay ganahan unya di ka sure if ganahan pud siya nimo, mahadlok man ka mo risgo sa chance, di ba, nga mo speak up, mo confess sa imong feelings, risky kaayo, mahadlok tag risk. So same with investment. We will assume that investors are risk averse, so they're afraid of risk, such that if they would really take the risk, no, kung ilang dawaton nga okay risky na siya, in return they will be asking for higher income or higher returns from such investment. So again, if the problem is silent, generally we would assume that we are looking at it on the perspective of a risk averse investor. So we have these basic principles. The risk of an asset can be considered in two ways. First, on a standalone basis, and second, in a portfolio context. What we did last week, if you can still remember, we were looking at the risk of the asset on a standalone basis. Kung may yung tag standalone, meaning that investment on its own, individually. So, kung makita ka, let's say, investment number one, kung imo siyang i-assess iyang risk, nga siya lang, walay labot sa uban, dili nimo siya i-grupo sa uban, that means we are looking at its risk on a standalone basis. So this is where the assets cash flows are analyzed by themselves. Pwede sad imo siyang i-grupo with other investments. So if you want to look at the risk of investment number 1, 2, and 3 collectively as a group, then we say that we are looking at the risk of an asset in a portfolio context. So this is where the assets cash flows are combined with those of other assets. So if we are looking at a risk in a portfolio context, the assets risk can be divided into two components. First, the diversifiable risk, and then the second is the market risk, or what we call the non-diversifiable risk. So again, kung portfolio gani natin gitawag nga diversifiable risk, na-assign non-diversifiable risk. The other term for non-diversifiable risk is market risk. So what's the difference between the two? When we say diversifiable risk, unsa man ang root word sa diversifiable? Diversify. Unsa man ang diversify? Unsa may nasabtan na to ng diversify? Pwede mawala. Okay, pwede mawala. So, kung imo siyang i-combine sa lain, pwede siya mawala. Diversifiable risk. This is a risk which can be diversified away and thus is of little concern to diversified investors. So, kay may diversify man day siya, mawagtang man day siya nga risk kung imo siyang kung kani siya nga investment imong i-partner with another investment, then dili kayo na nato concern, no? Kay mawala man siya kung imo siyang i-group with other investments. So kay ma-diversify away man day siya, dili kayo na nato siya concern. Ang atong more concerned na part is the non-diversifiable risk or the market risk. So as what I have mentioned a while ago, market risk is something that would affect all companies in the market, all investments. So it cannot be diversified away kay wala kay kawala. Wala kay kawala aning market risk or non-diversifiable risk. So this reflects the risk of a general stock market decline which cannot be eliminated. It cannot be eliminated by diversification and thus concern investors. So between diversifiable risk and non-diversifiable risk or market risk, which do you think is relevant if you are an investor? You would say that only market risk is relevant. Maora imuhang point of concern. Because again, nga nung ma-concern man ka sa diversifiable risk when in fact, it can be diversified away, right? So, only market risk is relevant. Diversifiable risk is irrelevant to rational investors because it can be eliminated. Okay? So, market risk has other names. Again, market risk is also known as non-diversifiable risk. And since only market risk is relevant, we could also say that market risk is AKA also known as relevant risk. So, either anang tulo ka terms dapat hibaw na mo nga. Kung may gikog market risk, kung may gikog non-diversifiable risk, and when I say relevant risk, it only pertains to the same thing. It is the risk that cannot be diversified away. So an asset or an investment with a high degree of relevant risk or market risk must provide a relatively high expected rate of return. Kaya nga no ganito, the higher the risk, the higher the return. So kung taas ko no iyahang relevant or market risk, then we will also be expecting higher rate of return. Okay, guys, please make sure to mute your mics ha para dili ko mawala. So again, investors in general are risk averse. We are afraid of risk. So we will not buy risky assets unless those assets have high expected returns. Kung sa ganito atong rule, The higher the risk, the higher the return. Okay, so rule number 1 in investing. No investment should be undertaken unless the expected rate of return is high enough to compensate the investor for the perceived risk of the investment. So in short, again, if this investment is risky, or if this investment has a high market risk or relevant risk, then we should also be expecting higher rates of return. Thus, if gamay ra ang iyang ihatag nga rate of return for a risky asset, if ikaw si investor, you should not undertake that investment. You should decline that investment. So, no investment should be undertaken unless the expected rate of return is high enough to compensate para mabawi daw ang ato ang risk related to that investment. That's our first rule. So last meeting, we did compute the expected rate of return. This is the weighted average of outcomes. Yun sa ganito na to, probability times return, right? If you can still remember, we have a table and then we multiply the probability of each return. So probability times return, probability times return, probability times return, and then add all products. That is your expected rate of return. So in short, this is the summation of all products. Kung may products, mga tong probability times return. In fact, you had your assignment related to that. Then our rule number 2, the tighter the probability distribution of expected future returns, the smaller the risk of a given investment. So what if daw gitagaan ta og bell curve? Can you imagine a bell curve? So bell curve, kung tight daw na siya nga bell curve, that means that that investment has a smaller risk. Okay, so the tighter the probability distribution of expected future returns, the smaller the risk of a given investment. So let's have this example. These are the bell curves or probability distribution of two companies. First one is sale.com. This is the first company. Kita mo ni tambok iyahang probability distribution. While for basic foods, mo ni siyang iyahang probability distribution. Which investment do you think is riskier? Tobe, let me call someone.
Sale.com is.
All right. Okay, thank you. Sale.com, that's correct. Sale.com is riskier because from what we can see in the probability distribution, si Basic Foods tight ang iyahang probability distribution. And again, we remember the rule that the tighter the probability distribution, the lower or the smaller the risk. So if ikaw si investor, asa man ka mo invest? Anyone could answer.
Basic Foods, miss.
Correct. So if you are a risk-averse investor, then you would want to invest your money in Basic Foods rather than in sale.com. Very good. Okay, so at this point, kabaw na mo mutanaw ha o bell curve, at least mo yun ba? Asa man ani ang mas nindot nga investment niya. Pamaymay din ka, kani okay. Judging from the probability distribution, maging-ana na din ka. Okay, next. So, this one is a kani siyang bell curve na to dinhi. This is a graphical it's a representation, like a picture. It represents how the riskiness of a specific investment. But the next question is, how do we measure this one? How do we measure the tightness of the probability distribution? So the answer is through standard deviation. So, ang kanilang standard deviation, this is the measurement of the tightness of the distribution. Kay usahay, if dili tatagaan og kaning bell curve or probability distribution, niya tagaan tag standard deviation lang, at least at this point, kabalo na ta nga ang kanilang standard deviation mo din na siya ang measurement kung tight ba or dili ang probability distribution. So this is through standard deviation. The symbol for which is this one, which is pronounced as sigma. Okay. So for sigma, that is standard deviation. So let's convert our second rule, diba? The second rule is the tighter the probability distribution, the smaller the risk. So if we look at its measurement, which is standard deviation, our next rule will be the smaller the standard deviation, that means the tighter the probability distribution. And accordingly, the less risky the stock. So kung gamay ang number sa standard deviation, it means daw nga tight ang probability distribution. And therefore, we could say that that stock or that investment is less risky. Okay. Now, we now have expected returns, right? And standard deviation. Now, if you are presented with two investments, say for example, investment A and investment B. If investment A has an expected return of 20%, while investment B has an expected return of 10%, which one do you think is more attractive to you? Investment A daw has expected return of 10%, 20%, while investment B has an expected return of 10%. Asa man ana ang imuhang ganahan investan?
A, miss.
A, why?
Mas higher siya og expected rate of return, miss, kaysa sa B.
Correct. So, ang rule na to, kung ang expected return atong tan-awon, mas ganahan tagtaas nga expected return. Mas ni-offer man siya ng tuog more income, right? Now, let's just say that investment A has a standard deviation of 1.0, while investment B has a standard deviation of 0.5. Which investment is more attractive to you? Investment A has a standard deviation of 1.0, while investment B has a standard deviation of 0.5. Which one is more attractive?
For me, miss, for us to know, miss, mag-base ta sa value sa coefficient of variation sa both, miss. Per rate of return between yan,
I
miss.
mean, judging based on the standard deviation itself. So, based on the standard deviation itself, okay. See, ang standard deviation ni A kay 1.0, while ni B kay 0.5. So,
Miss, 0.5 ang mas more attractive kay mas sikit man sila.
yes, so correct. So since investment B has a lower standard deviation, that means the tighter the probability distribution, and corollary, the less risky the asset is, right? So if you look at higher expected return, and then looking at standard deviation, there is a conflicting decision, right? Because if we just look, or we just consider expected return, then we need to choose investment A. But if we look at standard deviation, then we have to choose investment B. So which is which? How do we decide? So to decide, since there is a conflict, we should use the coefficient of variation instead. Okay, so use coefficient of variation. This is the standard deviation divided by the expected return. So what's our rule now for coefficient of variation? The lower the coefficient of variation, the better. Okay, so again, if there is a conflict between your decision, if you look at expected return and then you look at standard deviation, to help you decide, you have to compute the coefficient of variation and then compare the coefficient of variation of the two investments. The lower the coefficient of variation, the better. Okay, let's have this example. You see, we have project X and project Y. The expected return of the following projects are 60% and 8% respectively, while standard deviation as expressed in percentage is 15% and for project Y is 3%. So the coefficient of variation of 0.25 and 0.375 are computed using the following formula. Ganina. Standard deviation divided by expected return. So let's try to verify if sakto ba niya itong coefficient of variation. Okay. So for project X, to compute its coefficient of variation if it's not given here, that's standard deviation 15 over 60 expected return. So that's 0.25. Then for project Y, that's 0.375. So which of the project will you choose?
X, Miss.
Correct. So we will um, choose project X because it has a lower coefficient of variation. So that means it is in fact less risky as compared to project Y. So if we look at it individually, if we just use expected return, we could choose project X. However, if we look at the standard deviation, then we have to choose project Y. So there is a conflict with our decisions. That's why we need to compute its coefficient of variation. And from that, we now have a final decision. We have to choose project X. Next rule we have, in a market dominated by risk-averse investors, riskier securities must have higher expected returns. So this is just like a reiteration of our first rule, no nga? Embodying the concept of the higher the risk, the higher the return because we are risk-averse investors. Then, katong ganina atong mga gipang compute no expected return pag last week. Then karon nag-compute ta og standard deviation. Nag-compute sad ta og coefficient of variation. That one is for your standalone basis. A standalone basis. When we say portfolio again, this is a combination of different investments. So at this point, we will be looking at investments as a group. So if you are rich, then you have lots of money, and then you spread out your investments to different. You spread out your money in different investments. So you now have what we call a portfolio. So this is a combination of different investments. Now, why do we have portfolio in the first place? To avail of diversification. No? Mura ra gunag kung ikaw lang, kung single ka, nya di ka balo muluto, maglisod ka og kaon og nga lami, no? Unless of murder ka, pero kung ikaw lang jud living on your own, maglisod ka kaon og mga lami, di mo ka kabaw muluto. So mo na ang risk nimo. Kung ikaw lang on a stand-alone basis, risky jud ka, no, risky. Pero kung i-grupo ka, let's say nakauyab ka kabaw muluto, kauyab ka kabaw muluto, so, na-diversify away na ang katong risk of not being able to eat yummy foods. Kaya na may ni offset, ana. Okay? So, that's the role of, or that's the essence of a portfolio. Okay? Para ma-offset ang risk sa isa ka investment because of this other investment. So, example, we have here, Bayad na Please, mo na ang iyahang pangan. Bayad na Please is a collection agency that operates nationwide through 37 offices. The company is not well known. Its stock is not very liquid. Kaning liquid, ano siya? Accounting term na siya. Kung may kag liquid, or not liquid. Liquid versus not liquid. Ang liquid, pasabutan na, daghan sila o cash. Dali ilang kwarta. Kung may kag not liquid, dali ilahang kwarta. So for this collection agency daw, since it is not well known, di man siya sikat, its stock is not very liquid. Its earnings have fluctuated quite a bit in the past and it doesn't pay a dividend. All this suggests that bayad na please is risky, right? Yung dili man siya liquid, unya di po siya mo pay og dividend, risky siya. And the required rate of return on its stock, let's say represented by the letter R, should be relatively high. Nganong high man iyang required rate of return? Kay risky man siya. Go back to our cardinal rule nga the higher the risk, the higher the return. However, during recessions, unsay may tabo ng recessions, di ba? Daghan dili ka bayad kay nagkalugi-lugi naman. So, bayad na please's earnings rise during recessions. Nga naman, kay si bayad na please, di ba, collection agency man siya, tig paningil. Kanus aman mosud ang tig paningil kung naay way ni bayad. During recessions, there is a high chance that some companies will not be able to, or some borrowers will not be able to pay the borrowed money, right? Because they are experiencing the effects of recession. So this is where bayad na please, a collection agency will come into the picture. So mutaas iyang earnings ana nga time, no? While ang uban nagkalugi-lugi during recession, kaning si collection agency mutaas iyang earnings. Nga naman kay daghan naman mo hire niya nga uy pwede ikaw mangolektaan ni for me. Okay? Kay daghan na magwa ni bayad. So ikaw ti kolekta. So your earnings will rise. Whereas most other companies' earnings tend to decline when the economy slumps. It's like fire insurance. It pays off when other things go badly. So therefore, adding this collection agency to a portfolio of normal stocks tends to stabilize returns on the entire portfolio, thus making the portfolio less risky. So if you have the normal stocks, when we say normal stocks, katong musunod jud sa musunod jud sa lihok sa many or majority of the market participants. So during recessions, if you have normal stocks, then you will also be experiencing losses. Pero if imong i-add si collection agency sa imuhang portfolio, kay during recessions mo earn man siya, ma-offset katong mga losses nga ma-incur sa normal stocks. So ma-offset kay ang imong normal stocks nalugi. Pero ang imong collection agency nga investment ni gain man. So na-offset ra, no? Nabawi ra ang lugi. So muna siya ang point of having a portfolio. And then not just if you want to make a good portfolio, dapat lahi siya nga mga lahi siya nga mga industries. Kaya kung mo invest ka in one industry, let's say you have 3 investments in the same industry, then parehas na sila og effect tanan. Kay kung naay isa ka scenario naay isa ka like circumstance nga mo affect sa entire industry, then all of your 3 investments will lose. So you have to spread out your money. Unsa na siya nga saying, kanang old saying nga, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Kay kung matagot ko nga basket, mabuak tanan imong eggs. So malugi ka. At least i-spread out nimo. That's a characteristic of a good portfolio. So on a portfolio basis, the fact that a particular stock goes up and down is not very important. As a single stock, dili kaayo siya important, no? What is important is the return on his or her portfolio and the portfolio's risk. So again, if you have a portfolio, dili na importante ang market prices or riskiness sa imuhang individual stock. Ang importante na is ang performance of the stock as a group. So logically then, the risk and return of an individual security, when you say security, that is also another term of investment. So the risk and return of an individual investment should be analyzed in terms of how that investment affects the risk and return of the portfolio in which it is held. Diversification can reduce risk, but it cannot eliminate it. A while ago, we mentioned two risks associated with a portfolio. We have diversifiable risk and non-diversifiable risk. Diba? We learned that a diversifiable risk can be diversified away. So when we say diversified away daw, it can only reduce risk but it cannot totally eliminate it. Dili entirely mawala ang risk but mugamay siya because of diversification. Almost half of the riskiness inherent in an average individual stock can be eliminated if the stock is held in a reasonably well-diversified portfolio. So kung risky daw kuno kaini ang isa ka investment, kunya imo siyang i-add sa isa kanindot nga portfolio, ma-half daw ang ihang pagka-risky. No? Dili na kaayo nimo ma-feel iyang riskiness, ma-cut into half daw siya. If imo siyang i-add sa reasonably well-diversified portfolio. Nya, kaning reasonably well-diversified portfolio, this is one which contains 40 or more stocks in a number of different industries. So, medyo daghan-daghan sad. So, kung makaingon ka nga nindot na imong portfolio, that means dato na kay ka. No, kay naa kay at least 40 stocks. Unya, in a number of different industries pa jud. So, balik ta ha. Eliminated or not. This is actually a misleading term, no? Eliminated. Ang pasabot ra ani, ma-eliminate ang uban. So, dili ma-eliminated entirely ha. So, kaning kung gamit ang word nga eliminated, makuhaan. Dili necessarily nga tanan jud makuha. Kaya ingon man dito, di ba, it cannot eliminate the risk entirely. Can merely reduce risk. So diversifiable risk is that part of a stock's risk that can be eliminated. So nganong diversifiable risk man ni siya? Because this risk only affects that specific investment. Dili siya maka-affect sa uban nga investments. Such that if imo siyang i-pair with other investments, then pwede ra siya i-offset sa uban. As compared to non-diversifiable risk, as I have mentioned earlier, non-diversifiable risk is one that affects the entire market. So, kung si investment A naa ani nga risk, si investment B naasad siya ani nga risk. Si investment C naasad siya ani nga risk. So, if imo siyang i-grupo kani silang tulo, wala ray mahitabo. Kaya naaman sila ana tanan. Okay? So, an example of diversifiable risk or diversifiable risk is caused by random events like lawsuits or strikes. So kung nay lawsuit kanang naay kaso-kaso, dili man tanan companies involved ana, di ba? Kana raman jud nga specific party. Kung ikaw nga company, ikaw ang nisu or gisu, kamo rang duha ang involved. Ang uban companies wala nay labot. So ang kanang risk ana, especially if you are the one being sued, you have a risk of losing. So if mulose ka ng lawsuit, of course, malugi ka. Kaya makabayad mo kag dako nga damages. So your value no sa imong investment diha sa imong company mugamay. But that risk is only applicable to you. Atong uban nga dili involved sa lawsuits, dili sila affected ana. Then strikes, if mag-strike ang inyong employees, inyong harang nga employees, inyong harang nga company ang exposed ana nga risk, walay labot ang uban. So diversifiable risk affects only specific companies. A bad event in one firm could be offset by good events in another firm. Then non-diversifiable risk, this stems from factors that systematically affect most firms like I have mentioned earlier, war, then inflation, recessions. Wala man tay immunity anang inflation or recessions nang may uy, immune ko anang inflation, kamuray affected. Dili man. So tanan man jud affected anang inflation o recession sa economy. So this is more on a macro level. Since affected man tanan, this cannot be diversified away. It cannot be eliminated by diversification. So I hope that's clear. Okay, so how do we compute expected return on a portfolio basis? Remember that on a standalone basis, when we compute expected return, diba, that is just simply probability times return, probability times return, probability times return, and then you add them all up. That's the expected return. Here, the expected return of a portfolio is computed this way. So step 1, determine the expected return for the individual asset. So moagi ra di gihapon ta og expected return para sa tagsa-tagsa ka investments sa sud sa ato ang portfolio. So if we have 3 investments inside our portfolio, then we need to determine the expected return for each of the investment. So dapat naatay tulo ka buok nga expected return. Expected return ni investment number 1, investment number 2, o investment number 3. After step 1, we now multiply the expected return, katong ganina nga atong na-determine, by its investment proportion. So, kung tan-awon daw ang portfolio as a whole, pila man ang proportion ni A dinha or investment number 1? Is it 50% of the entire portfolio? So, kung 50% siya of the entire portfolio, 50% ang iyahang investment proportion. Yeah. 30% kumbaga si investment number 2 o 20% sa tibuok portfolio si investment number 3. So, ana siya mga weights na nila, weights or investment proportion. So, you multiply daw the individual expected return by its investment proportion. So, return times proportion, return times proportion, return times proportion, and then add everything from step 2. So, expected return of a portfolio is equal to weight, W is for weight. So, weight of investment number 1 times the expected return of investment number 1 plus weight of investment number 2 times return of investment number 2 plus and so on. Kung hangtod pila ka buok imuhang investments. Okay? So that's how we compute expected return on a portfolio. Example, assume an investment manager has created a portfolio with stock A and B. So, duha ra ka buok ato ang stocks inside the portfolio. Stock A has an expected return of 20% and a weight of 30% in the portfolio. Stock B has an expected return of 15% and a weight of 70% in the portfolio. So mas daghan day si stock B sa atong portfolio kay 70% man siya sa atong portfolio. Si A kay 30% ra siya sa atong portfolio. So what is the expected return of the portfolio? Let me call on Kat Tanquiado. Are you here, Kat?
Kuya po niya mag-call-call. Lagi ato.
Uy, Fabi, nakadungog ko nimo. Sige, asa naman to si Kat? Nakader Kat. Oh, okay. Let me call someone else. Yael. Yael Chua.
Nag-solve po ako, miss.
Okay. Sige. Take your time. So just remember our formula. You have to multiply the expected return of this stock to its weight. So return times weight, return times weight, return times weight, return times weight. Hangtod mahuman tanan imuhang stocks or investments. Then you add everything.
Is it 1650, miss?
1650. All right. So the expected return of the portfolio is 16.5%. So, anaon na for stock A, ang weight niya is 30% of the portfolio. So that's 0.3. Then ang iyahang expected return is 20%. Okay. Then do the same with stock B. So this will give you an expected return of the portfolio at 16.5%. Okay, 16.5%. It's okay, Fabi. No worries.
So, i-decimal pa day ang iyang weight, miss?
Pwede rasad kuan. Dabi atong i-try. Kung imurang yung diretso, 30 times
Yes, miss.
20. I-divide to nimo imuhang na answer na 165 tayo mag-answer na.
1650, miss.
1650 o i-divide nimo og 100 kay
100.
okay, all percentages man to siya. So divided by 100 so mo na siyang 16.5.
16.5. Sige, thank you, miss.
Sige. So I hope you all got the correct answer. That's quite straightforward naman. So let's proceed. Then we have covariance. Diba? Since we are looking at stocks as a group, we now have to analyze whether kani siya nga mga stocks nga atong gisud sa atong portfolio, friends ba ni sila or dili. Kung may kag friends sila, that means magsunod ra gyud sila kung ang isa mo gain, sila tanan mo gain. Kung ang isa mo lose, sila tanan mo lose. Okay? So, sunod-sunod. Covariance is the measurement of how assets relate or move together. So, if you want to find out what is the effect if si investment A mo gain sad ba si investment B or mo lose? Okay, so we could determine that using covariance. This will give us the measurement of how assets relate or move together, whether they move in the same direction or they move in separate directions. What do you think is better? Having assets in a portfolio that move together in the same direction or in different directions? What do you think? Lang, there is no wrong answer. Opinion, Roman. How about Gabriel Cortez? What do you think is better? Isod nimo tanan mga investment sa portfolio nga mo move together? Mo move sila the same direction or opposite directions? Unsa may mas nindot? Gabriel.
So far sa akong pagsabot, miss, kay depende siya nga unsa nga type siya of investor. Kay if grabe kay siya risk
Yeah.
taking, then mupili jud siya katong same direction. Kay
Yeah.
if dili gani siya katong risk taking, conservative siya, then katorang murag opposite direction kay murag ma-balance out kuno hay ba.
Correct.
If like same direction gani kay either malugi jud siya lugi or grabe jud kay siya reward.
Yes, correct. So thank you for that, Gabriel. It was a very complete answer. No, I was actually looking for answer in the perspective of a risk-averse investor. Kay, di ba? Kung silent, ato tanawon as risk-averse. But that one is more clear. So if you are a risk taker, nga investor, so ganahan ka og assets nga mo move together kay para kung mo gain ang isa, gain tanan, no, jackpot din ka. Pero kung mo lose ang isa, super pud ka kalugi kay mo lose man sad tanan. Okay, so if risk averse ka, mas ganahan ka nga move sila in opposite directions. Okay, kung naisa nga mo lose, at least ma-offset siya sa uban nga mo gain. Okay, so let's now look at covariance. Covariance is the summation of these products. Product of the difference between the return of stock A minus its average return. Average return is actually expected return. Okay, so we could look at this look at it this way. Return of stock A minus expected return or average return of stock A, then multiply it to the difference of this part. Difference of the return of stock B minus the average return or the expected return of stock B. Okay, so first you need to get the difference and then multiply it, sum it all up, and then divide it by n periods. Okay, to make this more clear, let's have this rule first. If after computing covariance and what you get is a positive number, if the covariance of the two assets is positive, the assets move in the same direction. So kung positive daw ang amount nga imong makuha ini-compute nimo, pasabot daw katong duha ka assets nga imong i-compare, friends sila, kay move man sila in the same direction. If, however, the two assets have a negative covariance, the assets move in opposite directions. If the covariance of the two assets is 0, they have no relationship. Parehas ninyo of may relationship. So, joke. Okay, so, if ikaw risk-averse ka nga investor and then you are planning to add more investments into your existing portfolio, you are aiming for a negative covariance. So in order for you to decide, let's say that there is this prospective investment na you are trying to consider. So in helping you decide whether you would add this to your portfolio or not, you have to compute first the covariance. Okay? So if negative ang ilang covariance, that means they move in opposite directions. Nya mas ganahan ka na kay risk-averse investor man ka. No? So let's have this example. Assume that the mean return, okay, ang kaning expected return ha daghan siya terms. Pwede siya tawgon nga mean return. Maldita siya nga return kay mean man siya nga return. Wale. Okay. Pwede siya tawgon nga average return. So let's pareha na silang tulo. Expected return, mean return, average return. So assume that the mean return on asset A okay ra ko. Kaya pa nako. On asset A is 10% and the mean return on asset B is 15%. Given the following returns over the past 5 periods, calculate the covariance for asset A as it relates to asset B. Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes to answer this. So again, all you need to do first is to get the difference between the return, let's say 10% man, tanawa sa si A, ayaw sa na si B. Si A sa, so return niya 10%, 15, 5, 13, 8. So binagsaon na nimo. 10%, then minus its expected return of 10%. So that's 0. Then 15% minus 10%, and so on until mabot ka sa 8%. So now do the same with investment B. After you get all differences, then you multiply. After nyo mo mag-multiply, i-add mo tanan. After nyo mo mag-add, i-divide mo sa n. N being the number of periods. In this case, we have 5 years. Okay? So I'll give you 3 minutes. Okay, nanay naka-answer. 3 minutes na ba? Or nagkabantay da? Kinsanay na human na. After minus, nahuman na mo og minus. After mo mag-minus, kada stock, okay, na namoy duha ka columns din ha, no? First, katong gi-minus nimo sa stock A. Nya, second column kay gi-minus nimo sa stock B, right? After ana, imo siyang i-multiply ang duha ka buok. Katong nakuha nimo nga difference sa A ug difference sa B per year, i-multiply nimo. Multiply. Then, after ka na human og multiply sa tanan, after 5 years, add nimo tanan mong products. After ana, pag-add, divide it by the number of periods.
%0.19%, miss.
0.19% na po dyan na. 0.19%. Okay, how about the others? Do you have the same answer?
0.
Zero? Ayos at zero, eh. Na ay nag-answer og 18%. Duha na sila kabuok. Nag-answer 18. Napoy katulo, 18. Napoy 7. Sige, mana mo tanan. Let's look at the 18. Okay. 18. Daghan og 18 na. Sige, tanaw na to. Yes, correct. Sorry. The covariance would equal 18. So first, atong buhaton ha, tanawa sa katong mga wala nakakuha sa 18, tanawa sa focus sa mo ni A, kaning investment A. So mo na yung mga returns, no? 10%, 15, 5, 13, 8. I-deduct from these returns ang iyang expected return. As given, ang expected return for A is 10%. So 10, kaya ang year 1 sa tanawa. 10. Unya ang iyang expected return kay 10 man sad. So 10 minus 10, that is 0. Right, mo ni 0. Then 15. Next 15. 15 minus 10 is 5. Then 5 minus 10 is negative 5. 13 minus 10 is 3. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. After ana, proceed mo ni investment B. Kaya itong expected return ni B. 15%, right? Yeah, here, the mean return of asset B is 15%. So, 18 minus 15 is 3. 25 minus 15 is 10. 2 minus 15 is negative 13. 8 minus 15 is negative 7. 17 minus 15 is 2. After ana, imo silang i-multiply. Tanan lang differences imo i-multiply. So 0 times 3 is 0. 5 times 10 is 50. Negative 3 times negative 13 is 65. 3 times negative 7, negative 21. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. After which, you add all products. So 0 plus 15 plus 65 minus 21 minus 4 will give you 90. And then lastly, you divide it by n periods. In our problem, that's 5 years. So 90 divided by 5 is 18. Okay, so covariance is 18. This is a positive 18, right? So what does it mean? Ano sa may pasabot kung positive?
They move in the same direction, Miss.
Correct. So they move in the same direction. If you are a risk-averse investor, then you wouldn't want these two investments dungan sa imuhang portfolio. Kung sila ra duha, risk-averse ka. Okay? Then, kani siya, ang atong gi-compute nga covariance, this merely tells us whether they move in the same direction or opposite directions, right? But it will not give us the answer to the question as to lagi ni move lagi sila in the same direction pero at the same pace ba? For example, kamon duha sa imong friend padung mo sa north sa Cebu. Pero ang isa nagbike raman, ang isa nagcar. So yes, you are moving towards the same direction. Pero dili mo same og pace. Okay? So as to what degree man mo nagparihas og padung in the same direction. So this is not measured by covariance but rather correlation coefficient. So correlation coefficient is the relative measure of the relationship between two assets. So this is only between positive 1 and negative 1. So if in the future, if you are to compute correlation coefficient, and then you get a number nga mas labaw sa 1, say 1.5 or 2, sayop na inyong answer. Okay, ang correlation coefficient daw is only between positive 1 and negative 1. So what does it mean if you have a perfect positive 1? It means that the two assets move completely together. So kung positive 1 jud perfect positive 1 imong two ka assets, parehas gud sila og pacing. Same pa sila og direction padung, nya same pa jud og pacing. Okay? So for example, if positive siya pero positive 0.5, it means nga same mo og direction pero mas paspas ang isa kaysa nimo. Okay? By half of the time. Half of the time. So if the other one is traveling at 10 kilometers per hour, then you are traveling at 5 kilometers per hour. Although towards the same direction. Okay? And a perfect negative 1 indicates that the two assets move in opposite directions from each other. So how to compute correlation coefficient, that is covariance, as what we have computed a while ago, that's covariance, divided by, sa nga symbol, sigma, stands for the standard deviation. So divided by standard deviation of A times standard deviation of B. Again, correlation coefficient is equal to covariance. So wala kigapon kikawala no kung baka gitagaan og covariance sa problem, you need to go back ato nga step to compute covariance. So covariance divided by standard deviation of A times standard deviation of B. Okay. Example, given our covariance of 18 in the previous example, what is the correlation coefficient for asset A relative to asset B if asset A has a standard deviation of 4 while asset B has a standard deviation of 8? So we all know, diba, from our covariance that both assets, both A and B, move in the same direction. But the question is, do they move completely together in the same direction? So let's compute for its correlation coefficient. Marian Faith. Okay, Marian. Kailan man imong na-compute nga correlation coefficient? Ang gitype ra ninyo. Sige, tanan ako ha. Same direction, 0.5, 625, 5625, or 6. Okay. Okay, correct. So, very simple, no? Ang katong covariance ganina, what atong numerator, 18. Then, atong denominator is the product of standard deviation of A and B's standard deviation. So, I think that is easy. So, although they move in the same direction, pero dili completely, dili at the same pace. Okay. We still have time. Wala pa mo giduka, guys. So, padayon lang sa ta. Okay, so we have this CAPM, Capital Asset Pricing Model, or in short, CAPM. The primary conclusion of the CAPM is this. The relevant risk, unsa gan ining other term for relevant risk? Can you still remember? Anyone? Any relevant risk? Oh, this
Market
is
risk.
the
Market risk.
correct. So this is the market risk or the non-diversifiable risk. Na po siya lain term. Siya si beta coefficient. So si beta coefficient, mo na siya si market risk, mo na siya si non-diversifiable risk, mo na siya si relevant risk. Okay, the measurement of the relevant risk is your beta coefficient. So the relevant risk or beta coefficient of an individual stock is its contribution to the risk of a well-diversified portfolio. Kay gani, ang non-diversifiable risk, dili man siya ma-diversify away, right? So for example, if ikaw si investment A niya naa kay market risk on your own, if isagulti ka sa lain nga investments, dadun bitbiton ra gyapon ani mo imong market risk kay it cannot be diversified away. So we could say that that is your contribution to the risk of the portfolio. So beta coefficient, this is actually the correlation between the volatility. When we say volatility, that means price variation of the stock market and the volatility of the price of the individual stock. So if you are not given beta, but rather you are given the percentage of the volatility of, the percentage of change in the price of the stock, of the individual stock as compared to the stock market. For example, individual stock rises at 10% and the stock market by 10%, the beta coefficient is 1. So how do we compute for beta coefficient? That is individual stock divided by stock market. So if the stock rises 15% and the market only 10%, beta is 1.5. But normally, also in my future examinations, I will be giving you the beta now. I will not ask you to compute beta anymore. So the CAPM, or the Capital Asset Pricing Model, actually gives us a formula on how to compute our required rate of return. So the required, okay, di ba, we have this rule nga, the higher the risk, the higher the return. So pila man ang atong i-require nga return. That is, kung pangtanong-taan na, we have to use CAPM. The required rate of return is the nominal rate of return that an investor needs in order to make an investment worthwhile. The return, kaning required rate of return, varies over time and is comprised of the following: real risk-free rate, inflation premium, and risk premium. Okay, I think kani siya murag makapabugat sa utok kay medyo complicated magud ang CAPM. So we will be discussing this na lang next week. Okay? Okay, so I'm actually thinking about having quiz bowl pero di pa ko sure kung unsaon ako siya. I will have to figure it out, but I'll try to make the game fun for us. I hope I can find a way to conduct the quiz bowl. Okay. So kung mag-quiz bowl ta next meeting, ang ato ang i-compute kaning mga returns, then risks, basta related to risk and returns, and then CAPM. Okay. Kaya dili pa sure kung madayon, depende sa oras kung atong ma-consume in discussing CAPM. So if napatay few minutes after discussing CAPM next meeting, then we will have our games. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Miss?
Yes, Leila.
Mautanan niya ako, Miss. Saan pagkuha sa variance, Miss?
Variance of an individual stock?
Yes, Miss.
Variance is standard deviation squared. It's just standard deviation squared.
Thank you, Miss.
Anyhow, I will be sharing or sending to you the PowerPoint presentations I have. Nasaan ba nako ninyo last time ang recording or wala? Nasaan no?
Nasaan, Miss?
Okay, sige. Okay, thank you so much everyone for participating. I had fun sa ato ang klase. Wala ko nabantayan. Ngalawm na din kagabion. Kay I usually sleep 9 or 9:30, so I could wake up before 5 a.m. So that's one of the habits I'm installing. Waking up before 5 a.m. I'm on my 47th day of doing that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so participative. See you all again. Oh, now, before we go, I'm gonna have to take another set of screenshots. Unsay app? Unsay nga app? Imong pasabot. Unsay nga app? Oh, no. I just set my alarm. And then nag-ano ko, nag-note ko sa ko ang journal. Yeah, but it's nice to wake up before 5 because you get to have the peace while everyone else is sleeping. You can devote more time for yourself. Then just make sure nga if you do it, ayaw mo pag social media, ayaw pag gamit ng devices, just do things could make you happy. Like imong i-process imong emotions through journal, mag-meditate mo, mag-pray mo, or mag-move or mag-read a book. Okay, the recording will be sent sa GC hapon. Okay? Thank you. So please turn on your cameras first. So I could take the last set of screenshots. Ang guba imong cam, Erica. Sige lang. For those who can, sige na, i-on na inyong cam para makakita ninyo. Sige na, para mahuman na ta. Okay, sige katurang maka-on sa ilang cam. Anyhow, ang katong mga dili maka-on, naraman sa inyong name or reflector man sad. Sige. I'll be taking three screenshots. So, first one, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Sending it first to myself. And then second. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Uy, kagwapa o gwapa, uy. Gwapo-gwapa. Husay. O gwapo. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Yon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night. For those who are not yet ready to end their night, enjoy your Friday. Friday night. Bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Bye, miss. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
miss.
miss. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.